Judging safe gaps on the UK driving test can be very difficult. And you've clicked on this video because you're wondering if I can fit this car through that gap. But in order to answer that question, the first thing we're going to do is nip to Tesco's. And no, not for a tape measure. So car parks are a great example of depth perception, because we've got this blue car next to us here and we know we can get through because we've got the lines either side here. But the further down this road you look, the harder it would be to judge the gaps if we didn't have those white lines as a reference. So think about, in a road scenario, you've got the white car, which would be the parked car. You've got us going through the centre space, and then you've got the black car on the right representing the oncoming vehicle. And again, if you step forward to the next gap, we've got the parked blue car, the light one on the left. We've got the car in the middle, which would be us going through. And then we've got the white car, which could represent the oncoming vehicle. So you can see the space is quite large, but look at the frame of the car here compared to how small it looks over there. So as we drive forward, so I know I can fit through this space. And as I get to here now, I'm assessing the next space. Make sure it's clear, obviously. So now I'm moving forward. Look, I know I can get through this gap, no problem. I know that because the width of the road, the width of the line is the width of the car. Now you'll notice that most cars fit in spaces as well. So most vehicles are similar widths, and we can use this to our advantage out on the roads. So let's go on the roads now and look at some examples of parked car, us, and oncoming car. So we have a perfect scenario coming up, the lorry. Now look at the lorry, and whatever the parked vehicle is, imagine another two of it across the road. So the lorry, another lorry, and another lorry. Definitely not wide enough for two cars. So we're just going to pause, wait for these vehicles to wait for us. It is our priority, but it doesn't mean we push through immediately. We always, need to check that it's actually going to work properly. Don't just push through, even though it might be your priority. Okay, so that was a great example there. So let's look at this one. As we come down here now, look at the parked vehicle. Imagine another two of it. It's not wide enough, so we're going to stop. Now what we're always going to do in these situations is look for the next gap. So I can see the gap between the next car. So I'm going to commit. So mirror, quick check, pushing out, keep that distance from the left. And then we're coming back in again. We know it's not wide enough. Again, three of this car across the road would be a little bit of a squeeze. So on the driving test, it's important not to take an unnecessary risk. The examiner wants you to remain safe, and meeting situations can be quite tricky to manage if we're not keeping our vehicle nice and safe. Okay, we've got a three-car scenario here. So we've got the black car on the right. So 1, 2, 3, yeah. Plenty of room here. Look up ahead then, that looks pretty narrow, doesn't it? But watch this car go through, and this exactly represents what I'm talking about. So you've got 1, 2, and then 3. You can see it's wide enough because you could clearly fit 3 cars across the road comfortably. So this is an obvious priority situation here. We've got the construction vehicle on the left, and there's no way you're going to fit 3 cars across this road. So it's a definite waiting scenario. Now all I'm going to do is creep up, try and increase my view down that right hand side, and then I'm just going to commit when I feel like I've had a good look and nothing's coming. At that point, you've got to commit, because otherwise you could be waiting there for a long time until that van basically moves off. So you can't always 100% see, but you take the correct approach speed and the attention to the danger that is there, and the examiner's going to be okay. Now if someone comes around the corner and they notice you, then they will probably brake, because they will notice the situation. You haven't just come flying around the corner. You have taken effective observations before you've committed to that meeting situation. Now there's a lovely little saying that I like to use, which is, if in doubt, chicken out. Okay, now look at this now. I'm going to let the red car come forward, and hopefully the car behind drops into that gap. Okay, this means now that we can obviously move up. The burgundy car shouldn't have gone forward there. If you come forward to there, there's a gap there. Let him in there, and then the other one might be able to go there. It should be just wide enough. Perfect. See, so everyone's got to kind of find a space, work through the situation together. You know, you're not trying to get into a battle with anyone, you're just trying to get through the situation. And when it's busy like this, it can be really tricky to manage. A lot of cars parked up here. Okay, I'm looking at the van. The van's waiting, that's great. Gives us a chance to come through. He's seen that the gap is definitely not big enough. So that was a really good example of how to work through a situation. Now, I call this a stepping stone method. So what we do when we're in a really busy situation is we only step forward when we can see the gap that we're going to go into. The car at the back of that row of traffic had nowhere to go, but luckily, because I didn't push forward too much, I gave them an opportunity to come into a space on that right hand side. So, you know, forward planning is really important when it comes to meeting situations, and make sure, you know, you're not stepping past the next gap that you've got available as you progress down a busy section of road like that. But that was a really good example of how to manage some of those situations. Now, it looks wide enough here for two vehicles because I can multiply this white car across 1, 2, 3. And you can see it's passable, but it is getting very narrow. So I'm going very slowly because the last thing you want to do in this scenario is go too fast. I've noticed an oncoming vehicle, but it's getting wider. So the further down I get, the easier it's going to be. Again, park car 1, 2, 3. You see we can fit through no problem. Okay, looks clear so far. Down to the red car I spotted. That's my next gap that I can drop into. So I'm just going to go nice and slowly, because remember, this is the last gap that I can drop into. So I can have a look down the road, and then, yep, I'm going to commit now because I couldn't see anything. The gap behind the black car is good. Okay, it's probably wide enough here now, because 1, 2, 3. But I'm just moving slowly because, you know, we've got the situation here with the van then. So I can come into this gap. Look, he's flashed me. So what he's saying is come forward. There's a gap here for you as well, which is great. So I can sneak into this gap here, and then I can push back out again. And obviously pushing back out round. Okay, that's great. Here then, 1, 2, 3. No, I can't fit, and it's not my priority. So I'm waiting, and I'm giving him enough room on this right-hand side to get through as well. So now, with all that knowledge, let's see if we can answer that question we had at the beginning, which is, can I fit this car through that gap? Now, if you look at that gap in front of us, that black car there, we can multiply that across the road by 3. 1, 2, 3. And basically, that gives us the answer that yes, we can fit this car through that gap. If you watch this car going through here, you will see that is possible, and I'll have a drive through myself now just to show you that it is also possible to fit this car through that gap. I hope that helped. If it did, please consider liking the video and subscribe for future content that will also help you judge things that you need to figure out on your driving test. But I'll see you in the next one.